All right, well, I'm going to go ahead and give Norman a brief introduction here while the last of the folks come in. My name is Chad Johnson. I'm the studio director at the San Francisco Center for the Book. But Norman and I go back some time. One of the first letterpress shops I worked at when I arrived in the Bay Area. I arrived in 2000, but in 2001, I started as the assistant pressman at One Heart Press under Norman's expert guidance, and learned a lot and had a lot of great printing experiences and fun times with Norman. And we've kept in touch over the years after he left One Heart and went on to take classic letterpress over from Jim Whalage and has subsequent move to Ojai, which he'll tell you all about. But we're so pleased to have, Norman is now involved with the Book Club of California. And so we get to see him every so often when he comes up for those events. And it's just been such a great friendship and valued mentorship for me. So I'm super proud and happy to welcome Norman Clayton to our Shelter in Studio series here today. And Norman, I'm gonna go ahead and take off the splash screen and everyone will get to see you. So welcome everyone and welcome Norman Clayton.
Thank you, Chad. That's wonderful. I miss you. I miss being in the Bay Area. My name is Norman Clayton and I work as a graphic designer and a letterpress printer, and I make books. As Chad was speaking to, I was living in the Bay Area for 20 years before moving to Ojai about 10 years ago, where I'm living and working, and you'll get to see my shop. Thank you, Chad and Sarah, very much for making this Shelter in Studio series happen. And thank you to the artists who have already shared their story. Appreciate that. I've enjoyed a number of them, including seeing my old friend John Demerit, who I know is joining this call today. So I have about 20 minutes to tell my story and what has been going on in my shop over the last few months. So here's how that'll work. I am going to read a poem. I'm going to show you around this press room, and then I have a bunch of photographs of my larger space and photographs of book projects that I've done over the years. And then as time allows, I'll talk in more depth about books that I've been working on recently. How's that sound? I'm so happy to see everybody. I loved living in the Bay Area for 20 years. I loved going to the Center for the Book events. I taught plate making there for many years. I was a member of the Colophon Club and the Roxburgh Club, and enjoyed going to the Book Club of California events. So when my family and I moved to Ojai 10 years ago, I had to leave those communities and my spiritual community also, and recreate those communities here in this small Southern California town. Fortunately, Ojai is very rich with artists and spiritual folks, so I've made the transition pretty well. I am a Siddha Yoga devotee. I'm a student of Siddha Yoga, and For those of you who live in Oakland, you may have passed the Oakland Ashram at the corner of San Pablo and Stanford, and that's where I would go to meditate for, I guess now, started doing that 30 years ago. I mentioned this because throughout my life, I have looked for ways to join my creative, artistic side with my spiritual side in my life. And that has come in the form of books and projects and broadsides. But more recently, I'm very happy to talk about Providence Press. Providence Press is now the imprint, my publishing imprint that I started a year or two ago. And my aim is to create beautiful, handmade books of spiritual texts from a variety of different wisdom traditions. And the most exciting thing in the shop right now is that even as we speak, my new intern, Sarah Dill, is putting together 10 scrolls of the Heart Sutra version by Stephen Mitchell. And tomorrow we will be shipping the first 10 scrolls of this new book to John Windle, who is the inspiration and the support for this project. So now I want to read a poem. This is called Love in Days of the Coronavirus. Let me tell you, says love, how to breathe. Now that you have time, see what is before your eyes. Your feet placed taking you to the kitchen. They have a way to do it. Right, left, just like the two sides of the tree, east and west, like your two hands designed to be faithful, like you and God, like you and the cup of tea you're about to prepare. Let me tell you how to breathe. You inhale this truth. Hold it like a dear love letter, and then let it go. If it is your special gift meant for you, it will come back. It's a poem by my friend Gila Nissan. She's a poet and writer and Hebrew scholar in Los Angeles. I made this broadside about a month ago. Okay, so show you around the shop. Now, I'm not gonna get up, but I'm gonna pivot my iMac around, and you'll see two presses in my press room, Heidelberg windmill back here, Heidelberg cylinder, and you'll see Sarah Dill working on Heart Sutra scrolls. Chad talked a little bit about my background. After I worked at One Heart Press, and after Chad took over there, I worked more closely with my mentor, Jim Wailage, and when he retired, I bought Classic Letterpress from him. Classic Letterpress included equipment that belonged to Adrian Wilson. And Adrian was, as many of you know, book designer, teacher, printer, and author in San Francisco at the press in Tuscany Alley with his wife, Joyce. This press that you see here is a Heidelberg cylinder, and he bought this press after he was awarded the MacArthur Genius Grant in 1983. It is my honor as a fine printer to be a part of this lineage using this beautiful 18 by 23 Heidelberg cylinder that Adrian printed on, that Jim then used, and now I've printed a number of books and posters and wonderful things on this press. Say hi, Sarah.
Hi.
Okay. Hope that was all right. Now I would like to show you some images of books and photos of my larger space right behind me. So here's the point where I share a screen and see if we can go to this folder of images.
It's all good. Go ahead.
All right, thank you. So here I am in what I call the big shop. I've got a Vandercook SP15 plate maker, work tables, flat files, and space to do line dancing. So come on down. All right, so I'm going to zoom through some photos. Nice collection of some foundry type. This is an unusual big metal building that has 4 roll-up doors. Here is a shot of some shelves, and down on these tables, there's some cuts by my friend Molly Dedmond. I'm going to be printing from those wood blocks and some other projects. I do job printing as well as book printing, and have for all these years. Mostly my books today and my kids. Okay, here's the poem that Gila wrote that I read. Here's a close-up of it. Poster that I printed. This is a 7-color letter printed poster. Here's an early book that I printed, the first fine press book I printed for the Yosemite Association. This is a great book, Zelig by Carla Saunders. This is a special book of poetry, Robert Bly. I printed for Nowacum Press. Last year finished a large book of Joe Mora for the Book Club of California. I love this project. The first book I did for Providence Press. This is a poem by Dana Gioia. Here's Sienna, my daughter, sewing. Here's Chayo punching holes. Stack of untrimmed books. The Tao Te Ching is the second publication of Providence Press. I designed it, printed it, and Sienna has done a lot of the binding, started by Molly Dedmond. She figured out the structure. This is Lao Tzu's writing, but Stephen Mitchell's interpretation of it. Oh, here's my little production sheet. I'm happy to make progress with my Heart Sutra and other things. I print stationery and invitations and design things. Here is the Heart Sutra. Here is the book the scroll that Sarah has been working on. This is the prototype. And now I'm going to show you some photos of how it was made. Picking out Pantone colors. Here are some plates. The film and plates. The scroll is made from 7 pieces of paper glued together. Show you that a little bit more in a minute. Here is the plate for one of the passes. Okay, we're on press. Here's the first pass of the first color. This is interesting because you see in the back the first and second pass of orange inks, and then the third orange ink. Here's the plate for the purple. And I'm not printing the Heart Sutra type there you see on the top, the title. I scratched that off of the plate after I got the position. Here's a photograph, close up. And closer up. This is a shot I took just yesterday of Sarah and Sienna's work to finish these up. Here's the bottom of it. There's 3 sections of text, 3 long sections. The scroll measures 6 by 61 inches. Gone, gone, gone. Beyond gone. Completely beyond. This is enlightenment. And this is the end of my 20 minutes. Here's Sienna, my daughter. And so they're standing 6 feet apart, right? Because they're almost 6 feet there, holding up the scroll. And the back is this marvelous hand lettering by Tom Ingmeyer. So thanks to John Windle for making this project happen. as soon as he gets his copies, then we'll work on others. So I think that is my slideshow.
All right. Well, thanks, Norman. While you take us off of screen share, feel free to chime in with any questions. My first question is, which press was that printed on?
Uh-huh.
Which press was the Heart Sutra printed on?
On the cylinder press.
Excellent.
Because it takes a sheet up to 18 by 23.
And so you printed it and then cut it up and then pieced it together, because you obviously can't print a 61-inch sheet of paper on that.
Well, here's one of the press sheets.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And then Gail asked, are the bands of color at the top and bottom printed or layered papers or silk?
It's a really nice crepe kind of paper. I'll show you that a little bit more closely.
So is that the housing there that you have?
It is. So this is the bamboo cylinder that it comes in. Here's an explanation sheet. It tells a little bit of John Wendell's story and why it's important to him. And then here it is a little bit, more closely.
Nice. Lori is curious, what brand and weight of paper for the scroll?
This is Lettra text weight. It's just worked so well. I was thinking about other papers like, Reeves Heavy or whatever, but this is actually strong and soft. It did the trick.
Excellent. And I guess my question follow up there, is that grain short on the scroll then, so it rolls nicely?
It is.
Excellent. Excellent. Angie asks, she's interested to know if printing the Heart Sutra, spending time with these words, has affected you in any way.
That's a great question. I didn't talk much about the importance of the Heart Sutra, but it is a central text that Buddhists study. In fact, John, one of his practices is to copy over by hand the words over and over again in a beautiful calligraphy. That's a way to study it and absorb the meaning. For me, it is the kind of a thing that you could spend a year, a lifetime studying to really penetrate its meaning. So that does kind of speak to why I want to make beautiful objects. Hopefully, with this on someone's wall, and they can read it over time and absorb it because it's a beautiful object, then maybe they will be able to imbibe the teachings more so maybe than if it was a paperback book. So I appreciate that question because it allows me to speak to why I'm hoping that a beautiful object can convey more successfully the essence of the spiritual wisdom it contains.
Well, thank you so much, Norman, and thank you for sharing that and for sharing that book in your studio with us today. I'm afraid we have run out of time, but thank you to everyone for coming today. And I've got, for those of you who shared your contact information in the chat, thank you so much. And we hope to see you at another Shelter in Studio sometime soon. Have a great day and great week, everybody. Be safe.
Thank you, everybody, for joining. I'm thrilled.
Thank you,
Norman.
Thank you.
Norman.
My pleasure.
I love you, Norman.
Lots
We
of
love
kisses.
you, Norman. You're so brilliant.
Hi, Norman. That was wonderful.
Thank you, Norman.
Thank you. Thank you all.
Love you.
Love you too.
Thank you, Norman. That was wonderful. Can't wait to see it in person.
All right. Thanks, everyone.
Bye.